Welcome to another episode of the podcast Profits Unleashed podcast, the show where we empower coaches and experts to use podcasting as a powerful tool to drive sales and grow their business. I'm your host, Karen Roberts, and today we have Mark Collins, a business and life coach. And Mark equips business owners and professionals through his Life Mastery course with the tools and strategies to overcome the fear of failure and imposter syndrome that is standing in the way of their maximum impact in their business, relationships, and life. And through his transformational strategies, Mark's clients can unlock the capability to make better decisions, project engaged authority, and display effective leadership. The result from this is that they get to show up at their boardroom or C-suite office, business, or workplace with unshakable confidence and effortless excellence. So today is all about you unleashed. So welcome to the show, Mark.
Thank you, Karen. I'm excited to be here today.
So first of all, if you'd like to share a little bit of your backstory, what inspired this you unleashed concept?
Yeah, it's a great question, Karen. I think if you wanted the short version, it's because I wanted to be unleashed in my own life as well. Growing up and believing that wanted to be an entrepreneur, wanted to have kind of that impact in the world rather than investing in somebody else's dream, having my own dream come to fruition. But having those challenges that you'd actually talked about in my intro. In my own life, wrestling with fear of failure, imposter syndrome, trying to show up as the person I believed I could be, whether it was in my business or in relationships or life, instead of the person who actually showed up, instead of hesitating to make big decisions and have big dreams that I'm going for, to actually invest in them in ways that really brought the impact and the results that I wanted. And so for me, it was trying to figure that out on my own and in my own transformational journey. Like with anybody, Karen, I'm sure when you find something amazing or something that's changed your life, you want to share it. And so for me, it was an informal way of giving ideas and concepts and strategies to friends and family and people I know, and then really formalizing it. Because the thing I found, I'm sure you see as well in your work, Karen, is that I find a lot of people had the same challenges I do. Even successful individuals who are clients and friends are still having that kind of person in the background who's struggling, that waking up like myself at 3 o'clock in the morning, wondering if your financials are going to work out right, or that business decision is actually going to have a positive impact. So it's given me the opportunity to invest in people in a formalized way to bring tools and strategies so that you can show up as the person you're created to be, so you can have the impact that you're meant to have.
Oh, love that. But how do you do this? Because we mentioned right at the beginning, there is this imposter syndrome going on.
Yeah.
It's all this chitter chatter, the stories that people create in their own mind. So, how do you help your clients unleash themselves? What's your process to helping people get over this imposter syndrome?
Yeah, that's a great question. And it really comes down to really your thought life, your mindset, the things that you do. I've heard somebody say that business success and entrepreneurial success is 20% strategy and 80% psychology. And so the first thing I would let them know is many times we silo ourselves as entrepreneurs, as business owners, as professionals, and we don't think anybody else is having the issues that we are. And so there's the first aha moment is letting them know that this is actually more normal than unique. And so you're not the only one who's got these thoughts, these ideas, these mindsets and thought processes. So that's the first thing, is to let you know you're not alone. For many of us, myself included, I had a client, Brett, who was amazingly successful, amazingly successful, and 8, 9 figure deals that he was doing in business. While at the same time, fear of failure came along at every business transaction. Every success and everything that he signed off on that got revenue for the company wasn't a victory for him. It was a relief, because he didn't blow it this time. Those thoughts that he was in his mind that were saying, this isn't going to work, I'm going to fail, this is going to be the ruin of my company. So every success was a relief that it didn't happen this time, but it may happen next time. And so for me, it's
Mm.
letting people know, first and foremost, you're not alone. I honestly don't know anybody, apart from a transformational program or strategy like Life Mastery, I don't know anybody who doesn't have those challenges in their life. So the first one is the aha moment of saying, it's not a unique thing to me. The me that's in hiding is the same as other people. And the second one is, the first strategy we use is to separate you from your outcomes. And so with us, it starts with an identity statement: who you are apart from your outcomes, who are you apart from your accomplishments. Because that person unleashed isn't a strategy that you're supposed to have. It isn't a skill set that you're going to bring. Those you can have in abundance and still not succeed in your business and still not be willing to, like I said, have those big dreams and shoot for those big outcomes. So
Mm.
for us, first strategy is this: who are you apart from your things? Who are you apart from your title, your role, your position, your possessions, your income? We start with an I am statement. Who are you apart from those things? Because when you can separate yourself from your outcomes, you can more easily and logically invest in the things that you're doing. Because I tell people this: if I don't know who I am, then the world has to make up the difference. My business has to make up the difference. My relationships have to make up the difference. And in that place, you typically are that person who's holding back from the big deals. You're hesitating from those things that you're doing. You're minimizing the stress and the issues by minimizing the things that you can't control. And in those places, you miss out on the big ideas, the big outcomes, and the big dreams that you're meant to actually have, but you're holding your own self back.
It's always us, isn't it? We're in our
Yeah,
own way. And that definitely stems from the stories that we're telling ourselves about that aren't true.
yeah,
And something you said there about really, I think that is just so key about detaching, finding a way to detach from the outcome. Because I think so many people, when they're starting out, they're so invested in the outcome that they tend to push the outcome away. So when they do get on a call, they might talk too much and push the sale away because they're too invested. And I think that's such a bizarre concept that
mm,
when we are detached from the outcome, things tend to flow better because we're
yeah.
not so emotionally invested in it. So do you have any strategies that the listeners can take away to help them be detached from the outcome?
Yeah, absolutely. There's so for us, identity comes down to three things, and really, identity is the foundation of everything we do. You're either living what I tell the people I work with. You're either living from who you're created to be or what your life has told you. And it's unfortunate those things that we tell ourselves. You understand this in the work you do as well, Karen. I'm sure is there's an investment in understanding who we are right now because of the things that we've experienced in the past. It's not outcomes because my life has been amazing and now I'm just all of a sudden, sabotaging myself with negative thought patterns. No, what you've had is you've had experiences and you've had, what I call the pains and challenges and issues and experiences of your past and the things that were said over you, those things that you've grown up with that created an identity statement. And in that place, you've lived from it. So myself in my own life, having some academic struggles when I was in school at a young age gave me a mindset and understanding that you're not as smart as everybody else. In my own
Mm.
transformational journey in life mastery and overcoming it, those academic struggles as a young person had an outcome. The outcome was that the person I was growing up held back from things that I could have done that may have been challenging. Or what happens is you don't go for those things that can prove you wrong. You hope you're better than the circumstance you're walking into or the past that you've lived. And you hesitate or you stop from doing those things because what happens if I do fail? At that point, then I'm going to be right. I'm not as smart as everybody else, right? But in that transformational journey, you're figuring it out. How do you get to identity? That's the first part is separating yourself from your outcomes. And we do that with what we call an I am statement, creating a statement of who you're created to be. Who are you apart from your outcomes, your title, your role, and all those things that we discussed? Because it's that person that is the you, that psychology that we talked about, the 80% investment is you invested in those. So whether you're an entrepreneur or a professional, here's the truth of the matter. It's not your skill set that makes business and your role in your boardroom. It's you. It's the character of who you are showing up as, like you said, decisions, ideas, outcomes, understanding, solutions come more easily when I'm walking in with the confidence that I'm actually the person who has the answers versus I'm the person that's of question. Imposter syndrome is really this. It's instead of believing you're the answer to the circumstance you're walking into, you're the question to be figured out. Can I do it? Am I
Mm.
enough? Am I smart enough? Do I have what it takes to succeed at this? All of those things that we tell ourselves. The counteraction to that we use starts with this, an I am statement. Who are you? And then there's two others really quickly. The second one is a celebration list. And again, unpacking identity starts with a celebration list for us. And it starts with this: it's answering the question, what do you love about you? Here's the challenge for most people that are high level individuals, successful, type A, ambitious, is you find failures and faults before you find victories. and blessings. And in those places, in ourselves, even, you can create that business deal and have that amazing 7-figure outcome. But you know what you left on the table. You know what you could have done. You know those things you could have put in the contract, or that thing you could have added to the value adds that would have maybe made it more perfect. And in that place, we don't give ourselves the chance to honestly see the success and see objectively the outcomes that we're creating. So that celebration list says, who are you apart from? Right? Who is the person that you like celebrating? The person that's walking in integrity, the person that has that stick to itiveness. They're diligent in what they're doing. They're authentic in their outcomes. They're doing the things that they're created to do. They're investing in ways that make a difference in the workplace, in the world. And the third is an accomplishment list. And I tell my clients to create 20, but what I've written is about 130. And it's just by hearing
Wow.
that number, Karen, is when you
Yeah.
get past 10, 15, or 20, all of the high level marquee moments in your life are already on the list. And when you get to 55, 75, 100, now all of a sudden it's things like I show up to my business every day. I make sure that employees are paid on a weekly basis. I'm following through on the things and the line items that I need to do, or whatever the things are that are there. Here's the interesting thing I found: people at a high level, say an Olympic athlete, you never get to the gold medal podium unless you recognize what you're doing locally, regionally, daily on your training. I remember the story of Michael Phelps one time, amazing Olympian, most gold medals, I think, of any Olympian of all time. And he talked about this. He said, my success came from the fact that when most swimmers would swim and practice and train 5 days a week, I trained 7.
Mm.
So I knew that extra day or two over the period of 1 year, 2 years, 3 years gave me an astronomical advantage. He recognized in himself the success he was creating on a daily basis in the small things, and that gave him the motivation to do something diligently until he was on the podium celebrating the big things. If you can't celebrate the small things, in most cases, you'll probably never celebrate the large ones. And even if you do, your happiness, your joy, your excitement in it will last about 10 minutes, because then you have to
Mm.
reprove yourself. But by giving our folks the list, we do 2 things. We counteract fear of failure by showing you're a person of success on a daily basis. You have a track record daily of succeeding in your life. And the second is this: in celebrating the smaller things, when I get to that major accomplishment, it actually is tangible. It actually has joy and excitement attached to it. It's not something that, okay, now what's the next one? People get
Mm.
exhausted, burned out, and quit because there's always that next one, because they're not giving themselves the ability to say, I'm succeeding along the way. And in that place, giving themselves permission to enjoy the ride.
Oh, so true. We've been conditioned, haven't we, though,
Yeah.
from children to we're wired to focus on a thousand things could go right in one day. From
Yeah.
simply waking up and turning on the light, the electricity's working. You're using your toaster or putting the kettle on. Everything's working. Everything's going
Yeah.
right, and then one thing might not go the way we were expecting it to. And that is the one thing that a lot of people will then focus on. They might get
Yeah.
to work and tell a colleague about that one thing. They might have a phone conversation, talk to their mum, and repeat that. And it's so crazy when you can step back and look at that and go, yeah, but what about the other 999 things that went right that day? Your car started first time, everything, all these little things, but we've somehow got a little bit maybe complacent, and we don't show gratitude or appreciation for the little things that have gone right. So that's a fantastic tool, because I would have thought a lot of people in the beginning might struggle with that,
Hmm.
to when they can to actually look for the things that are going right in their lives. That's
Yeah.
taking the gratitude list, taking a little bit of a step further, and really focusing in on what is it that you're doing on a daily basis that is building on to your successes, and to be thankful for that every time. Because yeah, where have we gone wrong as a society where we have somehow been conditioned to not look for those things, do you think?
Yeah. Well, I think first and foremost, that's how we've been judged, right? How many times have we grown up as a young person, and whether it's academically or socially, you're judged by your outcomes, right? Myself in school, There's a reason why I knew I wasn't doing well academically. It was obviously the grade that I was given, but it was also the people around me reinforcing it. And many times in our life, again, you're either living from who you're created to be or what your life has told you. It's not just the experiences we've walked through, it's what it says about us, and it's what other people say about us. And it's the whole world. If it's not us trying to judge ourselves by those things, it's others telling us that you're not enough because you have the Mercedes, but you don't have the Bentley. You have the 8,000 square foot home, you don't have the 15,000 or whatever income level of those things, right? That peer group of successful individuals, or on social media for those of us who are on it, showing us that success looks like this. And that's an interesting point, because what I tell the clients that I have is there's a difference between success and fulfillment. We're not trying to make you more successful, although you will be in your business and your endeavors and the things you do. We're trying to give you a sense of fulfillment. Because I know, and I'm sure, Karen, people you could name by name who have been amazingly successful at something at the highest level, and another portion of their life is a disaster, or they're amazingly successful and then it all falls apart and their life is a bit of a train wreck after a while. And we think because they had success, that means every area of life is amazing. But success is really just working hard enough, long enough, diligently outworking your competition until you have that leg up and you're the person who's more successful than they are. You're doing more outcomes, more service, more whatever. The challenge is, again, apart from knowing who you are, my success is a substitute for my identity. And in that place, every person you know who I've just talked about, who had a bit of a train wreck, a bit of a mess in the rest of their life, success, I guarantee for them, was a escape and an alternative to an identity. And when you don't understand who you are, your world has to make up the difference. But fulfillment, the thing we're doing with Life Mastery in the course and the book that I have, Life Mastery, Living Life by Design, Not by Default, is saying what we're trying to do, it's the you unleashed. What I tell people is this: what we're trying to do is unlock and unleash your hero in hiding, the person you're created to be, so you can live at the highest level that you're created to, that maximized level that you talked about in the intro, in every area of your life. And that's what fulfillment is. It's me, and I'm sure you've been there yourself, Karen. It's me living from a place of knowing that this is exactly what I'm created for. This thing I'm doing, this entrepreneurial journey, this artistic endeavor, this thing I'm investing in, this is my passion lived out. This is me living from exactly who I am. That's what fulfillment is. It's having those successes in whatever income or accolades or the things that you're doing for business success or whatever the area is that you're working on, but knowing that this is exactly me lived out. It's not something I'm using to substitute for an identity. It's me really living from me. And in that place, my level of success is a byproduct of my joy in passionately pursuing and living out the thing that I'm created to do.
Amazing. And so true that the difference between being fulfilled and perceived success.
Yeah.
And if you're not on purpose, then like you say, when you do have that success, it's a fleeting moment of enjoyment.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's fleeting.
It's the same old adage of climbing the wrong mountain. You get to the top of it, whatever, you get to the top of the boardroom, your position, your profession, and you find out it's it didn't bring the satisfaction and the joy you thought it would.
Mm. But what else do you think, other than imposter syndrome? So we talked about syndrome. What else do you think stops people from living a life of fulfillment?
Yeah, that's a great question. So you could talk about imposter syndrome or fear of failure, or anxiety, worry, or a sense of a need of control, or fear of success. Even there's this sense of being afraid that you're going to succeed because you don't know, if first off, if you can do it, and second off, what it'll mean when you get there. But if you take all of the titles aside, all of these things that people have talked about, it really comes down to an identity statement: who you believe you are lived out. The satisfaction or dissatisfaction of your life in your profession or your business world or in your vocation comes down to understanding who you are and living from that place, or again, needing your role to make up the difference. So if you strip all of those away, it's an identity statement. My outcomes,
Mm,
my income, my role, my position, all of those things, they either come from who I'm created to be, or they're who I believe I am. So when your business fails, all of a sudden you're shaken. When
mm,
you lose your job, they downsize the company, or heaven forbid, they close the doors, and all of a sudden you don't have that role anymore. What's the person that shows up the next day? It's certainly in
mm,
most cases not a person of confidence. It's Now who am I? I'm not contributing to my household. I'm not doing the things that I'm created to do. I don't have that title any longer. And so, whatever those things are, it really comes down to that. And so, for us, we tackle everything with identity because if I understand who I am, then the world can't shake me. So, if my business
Mm,
works well, or if I go bankrupt, heaven forbid I do, but if I do, at the end of the day, I have confidence that I'm still able to confidently move forward and move towards the things that I'm created for. I don't use it as a reason to fail or to stop, but I use it as a learning moment to move forward. And so for
mm,
us, it comes down to those things. And when you get to that place of identity, here's the next thing we're going to tackle, it's your thought life. I tell the people I work with, at whatever level you are, whatever level of success, whatever title you have, whatever role you play, who you think you are, you'll become. There's no person anywhere who isn't today in their roles and in their relationships and in the things that they do greater than who they believe they would have become.
mm,
And so, in that place where you're trying to maybe initiate a business and you're not sure if you can do it, and we've all been there, you'll only rise to the level that you believe you're able to maintain. And
mm,
so, for us, those things we talked about, those first tools of the identity statement, which is the I am statement, it's the celebration list, and it's the accomplishment list, those three together are the things you use to transform your thought life instead of empty mantras and these phrases we use that are generic
mhm.
success phrases that everybody uses. There's a reason why they don't work. They didn't work for me and they haven't worked for any client that I've been with because you're saying things to yourself that you don't actually believe. And in that place, you want to measure up to be the next whoever, name the person. You're not them. And so psychologically, you're sabotaging yourself, not really sabotaging yourself, but you're coming into alignment with who you truly believe you are. How do you change
Mm,
that? I am statements, celebration list, accomplishment list. You give yourself a new strategy by giving yourself a new sentence, a new mantra, a new phrase that actually aligns with who you are. That's the power in what we do versus a lot of the personal development that I've tried to use and other people before. I created Life Mastery because I had personal development programs I used that brought change through habit. They didn't bring transformation. And the difference
mm.
between the two is the habits you use to get there, you have to use to maintain there. And what we're not trying to do is give people habits to maintain for the rest of their life so that they can keep fear of failure at a distance, or they
Uh-huh.
can hold off those challenges and those issues in their life. We're trying to give them transformation because in transformation, all of a sudden, what I tell people is this, Karen, living from a place of life mastery is the easiest life possible because you're only literally living from who you're created to be. And I don't have to measure up, I don't have to convince myself, I don't have to work myself up with energy and excitement to be me. I can just show up as me, authentically, completely who you're created to be. Living apart from life mastery is what a lot of personal development programs. So I need to remember my mantra when I'm having these challenges. I need to remember my phrase when I'm doubting what I'm doing or whatever the thing is that you're walking into. And so you use a system, you use a tool and strategy of the scripts I'm telling myself are the truth of who I know myself to be. And so it immediately aligns with my thoughts, and I can counteract fear, failure, worry, stress, anxiety, challenge, all of those things that come up. And in those places, that man or that woman in business starts to show up as the person they believe they were, the person they're created to be, not what their life has told them.
Love that. It just goes to show how powerful we don't give ourselves enough credit, do we? Because
Yeah.
it just goes to show that when what you truly believe, not what you speak to the world, it's not through your words, but when you go home at night and you close the bedroom door, how you truly believe is what is really running the show. And no amount of
Yeah.
affirmations, if you really don't think it, then your conscious and your unconscious is not in alignment. You're never going to achieve that. So I love that. What you're
Yeah.
saying is, or what I'm hearing from you is when you get the first section and you go back to get your core I am statement right, detach from the outcome, then you can bring in all these tools so that you transform yourself and your whole belief system is of this new identity. Love it. Love it.
Yes.
It's self development on steroids. That's what it sounds like, the self mastery. The listeners are thinking, oh, okay, this makes a lot of sense. And they might understand maybe why some of the things that they've tried in the past are not working and they'd
Yeah.
like to change that. What should the listeners do next? How do they get hold of this life mastery course?
Thank you for asking. I try to be a one-stop shop, I tell people. So everything I have is on my website, which is freedom-4-life.net, freedom-4-life.net. My course is out there. I mentioned a book momentarily, a book, Life Mastery, Living Life by Design, Not by Default. And that book is what I call the shortcut guide to life mastery. So it gives the opportunity to read a chapter today and implement it this week and find transformation this month. So it's a condensed and more shortcut version. So it's not the full-fledged bells and whistles, A to Z solution as I have in the course, but it's out there as well. But all of those are available on my website, freedom-4-life.net.
Fantastic. So if you have been trying things and you're not quite getting there, because it shouldn't be a battle, it shouldn't be hard work. When you get this right, you will be in the flow and things will happen a lot easier and you will be fulfilled. So thank you so much for your time today, Mark. It's been an absolute pleasure to talk to you. I love that kind of subject matter. And to the listeners, I will be back next week with the Podcast Profits Unleashed podcast. Bye for now.
Thank you for listening to today's episode on the Podcast Profits Unleashed podcast. If you're a coach, consultant, therapist, or healer who would like to drive sales whilst having fun podcasting, head over to podcastprofitsunleashed.com/free and find out how you can turn your podcast into a sales machine. We'll see you on the next episode.